This is Elijah Farfew from PMN News. I'm honoured to be joined by the new Warriors coach, Nathan Brown. He's just signed a 3-year deal with the club starting next year in 2021. Thank you so much for joining me today, Nathan.
My pleasure, Elijah. Pleasure to be here, pal.
So the first thing I want to ask was, what are you most excited about working with the Warriors club?
Oh, look, it's first of all to have an opportunity in the NRL again's great. I've been coaching for a long time now, and anytime you get a job when there's only so few of them, Elijah, there's only 16 of them here and 14 in England, you sort of got to feel grateful that someone's prepared to back you, give you an opportunity. So I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity. And what excites me is, me and my family, we have enjoyed our travelling in my coaching. I spent time in different parts of England, Newcastle, Sydney. So, certainly going to embrace other cultures. We really enjoy that, and meeting lots of new people. That's good from a family point of view, and building relationships from a work point of view. Obviously, the Warriors have got a very, very big junior base. And obviously, the All Blacks and rugby union is very, very big, and they're very, very strong. And when the Warriors are doing well, they've certainly developed their own good young players. That's something that I certainly like to do. I like to work with young emerging players and bring them through their homegrown, their local club. So, hopefully we can really tap into that, into not only Auckland but all of New Zealand, and develop some really good young players, not only for the Warriors but for the game in the Pacific nations.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, the fact that you'll be working with a lot of emerging young talent here in New Zealand and the Warriors, specifically a lot of players who are of Pacific Island descent. What are you most looking forward to working with players of Pacific Island descent?
Oh, look, I've been fortunate over the course of my coaching where I've got to work with some numbers of guys, some Samoans, some Tongans, and understanding, I suppose, how different cultures work. I understand they're all not quite the same. They're all a little bit different, which you'd probably know a lot more than me about, Elijah. But I'm quite aware that the different cultures are a little different, and embracing those cultures, and obviously, trying to get the best out of those players and what makes different ones tick is a really, really good challenge. So it's going to be a great challenge. I'll obviously, I've had some time with the All Blacks, and Mick Cron has had some time with Crono, so I'll be chatting to blokes like himself who've obviously worked in really successful environments with the different cultures. That'll be really important for me. I feel I've got a reasonable relationship with the different players I've worked with from the different cultures. And I grew up in a big Aboriginal community myself up home in the bush where I grew up, and I've spent a lot of time with them. And whilst the Aboriginal culture is a little different to the Polynesian and Pacific Island, there are still a lot of similarities the way they are with their families and how they do love home. So there's a fair number of similarities. I feel like I'm reasonably well skilled there, but really looking forward to embracing those cultures and learning a lot more about them.
And you'll be working alongside Phil Gould. Have you had a chance to speak with them about plans with the Warriors, and how's that partnership looking at the moment?
Yeah, look, the thing with Gus is very, very exciting, or Phil Gould, if go by his correct name, seems you've gone that way, Elijah. Most people just refer to him as Gus out here in Australia. His role is obviously one of huge importance, not only for the Warriors, but for the Pacific Island and rugby league in general, because with what Gus is looking to put into place will benefit the younger kids, the younger generation, and it'll be quite an exciting thing, not only for the Warriors, but for all the New Zealand kids' parents, because if what Gus is keen to do, we can get up and running with the Academy of Sport for not only for, as I said, not only for the Warriors, but involve the Auckland Rugby League, the New Zealand Rugby League, the Warriors. It will, I suppose, allow kids to not have to go to Australia at 14 or 15 or 16 to take up an opportunity in a professional environment. And, it doesn't matter whether we grow up in Australia or New Zealand or America, it doesn't matter. We all know that young kids have temptations to go down different paths, which aren't always in the best interest of becoming a good sporting person, I suppose, or a professional lifestyle. So at the moment, until the Warriors came in this year with an SG ball side, the Warriors haven't been able to probably promise the parents, the Pacific Island parents, that I can put your kid into the Warriors and he'll be playing in the best environment and playing against the better teams in Australia, where for the first time this year the Warriors actually did that. And to be able to do that, I think gives parents nice comfortability that their children are in a good environment, they're in a professional situation, so they don't need to go to Australia. Where at the moment, or in the past for the Warriors, what's tend to happen is if the Roosters or the Knights or the Dragons or one of those clubs offered a 16-year-old kid an opportunity to do that, it was very, very good for a parent to say, well, maybe you need to go there because you're going to get to go and work in an environment where you're going to less likely find yourself going down the wrong path. So with this Academy of Sport, which is what Gus is in charge of getting set up, I think it's going to provide a lot for all the Pacific Islands, not just the Warriors, but the game in general. And I think for parents to be able to see an environment like that, I think it would encourage them to keep their kids at home and in New Zealand rather than travel out to Australia.
The Warriors just announced yesterday they signed prop Kane Evans. What are you most excited about what he can bring to the table and to the team for the next couple of seasons?
Well, he spent the early part of his career at the Roosters and played a lot of finals football. He's now at Parramatta, and Parramatta the last couple of years have been a real developing side who have played finals last year and in the top four this year. So he understands a fair bit about what winning looks like. He's also got nice height and good leg speed, and that's two areas of our squad which we've been identified as what we need to improve. And so those two things there are two real important. The clubs he's been at, the success he's had, and the fact he's nice and tall and athletic. We've got a lot of, I suppose, lower centre of gravity people, so trying to get that balance right is important.
And obviously you won't take the helm until next year, but from here on until then, what are the next steps for you until then?
Oh, well, obviously, working with Pete O'Sullivan and on the recruitment, on the staff about recruitment, where we want to look to improve our squad. That's going to be a main focus. And obviously, until we work out what country we're going to be living in, I suppose, and working out the staffing situation, because if things keep going down the path they are, it's probably more than likely that we could be full-time in Australia, where if obviously things change, we could be in Auckland, so it's not an ideal situation with the COVID at the moment. That's not only in rugby league, that's all over the world in every sort of industry, I suppose. So, at the moment, we're sort of in a little bit of a spot where some things are really hard to plan for because of knowing actually where we're going to be based out of.
And do you have a final message for, our Warriors supporters, or especially those of Pacific descent, our supporters of the Warriors side, before you officially join the side as head coach next year?
Oh, look, I'm, myself and my family, we're really looking forward to moving out to Auckland and embracing all the new cultures. There's going to be some good learning curves in there for us. As I said, I think I've sort of dealt with a lot of different cultures over the journey and learned a lot, but I think I've got a fair bit more to go, and I'm really looking forward to embracing the way of life that's provided in Auckland.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Wish you all the best for the next few seasons at the Warriors. Take care, and thank you so much again, Nathan.
Thanks very much, Elijah.